Good morning. Welcome to Oshkosh. My name is David. This is week 13 of 52 churches in 52 weeks. As always, hit the like button and subscribe if you'd like to stay up to date with this intentional church hopping experiment. If you'd like to read about the first 52 churches in 52 weeks, that's on Amazon. I'll leave a link in the description box below. And today I'm at my second ever Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I went to one just a few weeks ago, and through a certain random series of events, I'm back for a second visit at a different ward. So with 52 churches in 52 weeks, what I really want to do is focus on the different type of churches when it comes to different denominations, and also try some different type of niche churches. Over the last several weeks, however, I'm having these weird spiritual happenings occur to me. So for this pilgrimage, I guess, I need to take a little bit of a personal discovery to see what's going on. So for a brief recap of what's happened, this all started with appearances of Cardinals in my life. So I had a previous relationship. The symbolism in that relationship was Cardinals. And all of a sudden, out of the blue, that relationship ended. And I was trying to kind of figure out, okay, God, what's your will for me? Like, where do I go next? So the night of the breakup, I'm praying about it. And the next morning, I step out, just like 1 minute. 1 minute, I could have been walking from my house to my vehicle, and I had a Cardinal appear to me that morning. And with Cardinal sightings, they're very rare around where I live. So I'm like, maybe that's a sign. Who knows? But what kind of sign? I had no idea. The following week, I had another Cardinal appear at a very coincidental time again, and had a big burden. It was removed as when I saw the Cardinal, I noticed. Again, very strange. Well, Cardinals, they would still appear to me every here and there, nothing memorable. I would take pictures of them on my morning walks. And for week 9, I decided I would do the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And I had 2 churches in mind and decided to do one in Madison. So I went there. I took pictures of that one and decided, I've never done this before, visiting different churches. I decided to change my mind and go to the other LDS church. So change up my GPS, start driving. My GPS loses signal all of a sudden in this really nice neighborhood. I have to kind of go down this dead end area, get my GPS working again. And as I'm pulling back out, 2 Cardinals just whistle by my front windshield. And I attended the Church of Latter-day Saints church that morning and had probably one of the best church visits I've ever had before, just due to the amount of one-on-one connection, 2-on-1 connection when I started speaking with the elders. And it led to about 2 hours of talking. And I'm very skeptical about the Book of Mormon when it comes to adding on to the Bible yet. But there was a lot of things I learned that the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints really gets right when it comes to young adults, missionaries, sisters, elders. They give purpose to young people that is focused on Jesus Christ and having a relationship with Jesus Christ. When it came to the families during the service, it was all about families, and I really appreciated that. So the elders kind of passed me off to the sisters at this ward for today. And I had no real intention about visiting. I wanted to try these different denominations. But last week, I had to do a workaround after recovering from illness. Went to Faith Haven, scenic walking trail sponsored by a church. I'm walking around, absolute disaster. Just flies are just flying in my face the entire time. I'm driving out. I have no idea what to talk about. And as the very last tree that I'm passing, a Cardinal appears. And during this, the past week, I've been seeing more Cardinals appear. I've had 3 Cardinal sightings in the last 2 days, whereas before, maybe I'd have a Cardinal sighting once every other week. So again, like I'm on this like Kevin Costner Field of Dreams if you build it, they will come, go travel across the country, go to Fenway Park. Maybe I'll see a sign. I don't know. There's something though with this particular ward though, where I have a little bit of history being here, and it began a series of events that kind of led to one of the most traumatic experiences of my life. So I don't know, with all these random occurrences with Cardinals and the amazing reception from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, if there's something going on here. So for me, this is going to be a personal discovery. I'm curious what's going to be taught, what's going to be talked about, if that's going to have any relation in terms of how I'm here. So I kind of know what to expect from the service. I just, is something going on spiritually that I can't explain happening? I don't think so, but I want to investigate. So I'm a few hours removed after attending my second ever Mormon church. As I've learned, you don't typically want to use that term. My second ever Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints type of worship service. And in my intro video, I kind of mentioned a little bit about, I had some history here for a very brief time in this particular parking lot. And through all these series of events, I was very curious about what was going to happen in the talk. And you know how sometimes with a sermon or Bible passage, there's something that just hits you. And I just had this feeling like when it came to the talk, there was going to be something said that was going to relay to the beginning of one of the most traumatic experiences of my life. I don't really want to talk about it, but through all these random occurrences happening, it happened again. So I don't know what's going on. I will do my best to explain what happened to me today. One thing I have been very impressed with when it comes to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is the use of missionaries. Especially when it comes to elders, sisters, they give purpose to young adults to not just find Jesus Christ, but also to find themselves. And that was a big hitting point for this particular visit. I'll get more on that later. But during this week, and since my Madison visit, I had the two elders who transitioned me to the two sisters near my local ward back here. And at first, I wasn't convicted to visit this particular ward, but in another video I do for week 11, I talk about the importance and the comparisons of dating follow-up, and church follow-up. And a lot of churches have no clue what to do when it comes to a new potential member. LDS churches, they know what to do. And the two sisters that have been in contact with me, absolutely phenomenal. And I almost kind of felt like I need to give them the opportunity to visit. And they invited me this past week, and because I was invited, because I have so much intrigue and curiosity about the LDS faith, and because of my Cardinal sightings from week 9, I decided to give this church a shot. My second LDS church, even though I want to do different denominations. So when I arrived for this visit, I actually got a text from the sisters, and I let them know, hey, I'm the guy in the purple tie. I'm on, the right side over here. And I was talking with another member, and the two sisters came up to me to welcome me. And, great to see them in person. Decided, hey, you know what? I'll sit with you two. And that was actually helpful because there were certain things that came up, certain terms I wasn't aware of, and I would just ask the sister next to me, what's an ordinance? What is this? Who's this person? So that kind of helped me out a little bit from a newcomer perspective. Due to the strange series of events that brought me here, and also I have a brief history in this parking lot that was part of the progression into one of the most traumatic experiences of my life. I had a feeling that the talk was going to hit home with me in a way that only God can do. So in the LDS church, my understanding is a bishop will have a revelation to pick out and request a member of the church congregation to give a talk. And that congregation member, through their own series of experiences, will speak from their own testimonies. So I was very curious about what this was going to be. And so she was running late initially. Apparently, the locks to her car, they were having trouble opening up the car doors. So she was running late. And eventually the lady arrived. And her talk focused on a dream she had when she lived in Eau Claire, Wisconsin. And her dream involved a hot air balloon with two missionaries. And it's like I've gone through narcissistic abuse. Like I had to go through a lot of, you hear about the Amber Heard Johnny Depp trial. Like I've been there before. And it all started in my own personal life at a hot air balloon rally. That's what I thought, and that's what I was blamed for. And I want to say this in a way where I'm not blaming the individual, because with forgiveness is important, that you don't hit back. So I'm trying to be careful of that, because I've made peace with my past. I've tried to, and I'm pretty sure I've forgiven my past, but just because I've forgiven my past doesn't mean that I need to say it directly to the person, because that gives a narcissist permission to do it again. Eventually, and this is where things get really weird for me then, is after that balloon rally that I had happen, the Delilah in my life got into a car accident over there, right at the corner of this church. And I tried to help in this parking lot with whatever reason that the person got in the car accident to begin with. When it comes to narcissistic abuse, the best way that I can explain it is through Samson and Delilah. When I met my own Delilah, I had Samson-like confidence. I felt very strong. I was very, very self-reliant. And I had a little bit of tinge of arrogance. Because after all, at the time, I was writing a Christian book. Look at me. I got my Christian card all good to go. And what happens through narcissistic abuse, when you have a Delilah in your life that has the back door open to the enemy, eventually what happens is, you tell your inner secrets, and that's when Delilah comes with her scissors. And in the story, it's about Samson losing his hair, having it cut off. What a narcissist will do, what a Delilah will do, is they don't just take some buzzer and just shave off the head. You are essentially sleeping, and they eventually will just kind of chop away at your self-confidence. They'll chop away slowly at your self-respect. They'll chop away at your reputation, your peace of mind, your finances, your peace, productivity. They just keep snap, 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 keeping, just cutting everything away. And eventually that leads to a loss in happiness, a loss to celebrate. It leads to you questioning your faith in family. It leads you to question your faith in marriage as an institution. It leads you to question your faith in friends. And the biggest thing is it leads you to question your faith in God, in spirituality. It's a self-identity crisis, a spiritual identity crisis. And what's even worse then is you begin to question faith in yourself. And it's just cut. And next thing you know, and it's like, I know I'm saying this and I've never actually had Fabio like lushed hair, but like Samson, you feel like you have nothing left. You're weakened. You have completely nothing. You have nothing but God left. And in the story with Samson, he's blinded, but at the same time, like he had never seen better before. And eventually, and here's the thing with Samson that I've always struggled with, because when I was a kid, I always envisioned him being this superhero, with all the muscles, Arnold Schwarzenegger style. Like, he gets his strength back, he prays, but he doesn't forgive. Instead, he uses his strength to, bring down the pillars, crushes the enemy, and it's like everyone dies, including himself. This visit kind of opens my eyes just a little bit. Samson was blind. Where I don't want to be like Samson and just bring everything down. How do I forgive? And she went further into the dream, and when it came to like with the hot air balloon, it went down into a valley. And again, when it comes to narcissistic abuse, when you enter into that darkness, it's so easy to get lost. So easy to get lost. And it took me a very long time, through a lot of help, to get out of that. So that's a little bit about today's talk, where it's like, maybe this is why I'm here. Talk about narcissistic abuse. If you've ever gone through it before, leave a comment, reach out to me. Would be glad to talk about it, because this is something that the church doesn't talk about. And with this particular talk, it wasn't about narcissistic abuse, but the hot air balloon, that hit home to me, because that was the beginning of this whole series of events way in my past. That was a very traumatic experience for myself. So to have that come back to me, I tried to close that door a long time ago. Like, I shut that off. So other things with this church visit. So after the talk, they did communion. And I still struggle when it comes to the Latter-day Saints communion, especially with the use of water. And, Jesus turned water into wine. And the reasoning I was given in the past was like the wine was being poisoned, so they changed it to water. And it's still hard for me to change that up in my head, because Jesus turned water into wine. I associate water with baptism, not with Jesus's blood. After the sacrament meeting, the sisters let me know that next was going to be Fifth Sunday. And the men, the women, they all gather in the same worship area, just like we had just been in. And what happens then is they'll play some recordings, videos of the LDS president, modern day prophet. I can't remember his name off the top of my head as a newcomer. And what I found really fascinating is just how family-like the church is. I'm so used to churches, especially with pastors, with non-denominational type of churches or traditional churches, where the pastor is kind of the celebrity. He's the one that gives the sermons every week. Like, he's the one that everyone goes to. and it's always the pastor talking to you, and it's never the congregation speaking so much to the pastor. There's no back and forth. It's always just lecture. With LDS, like, it's conversation among the church body. And, there would be a gentleman that would kind of lead the talks or the discussion, and they'd have a microphone, and if you raised your hand, you could give your insights, your 2 cents. And a lot of people had some really phenomenal insights in terms of what it means to be a follower of Christ. And for this particular discussion, it was so much more about the missionaries. Like, what can you do as an adult to help the missionaries? And as a missionary, what do you need for help from the adults? And it was really fascinating conversation, because with me doing the 52 churches in 52 weeks, for me it's fascinating because, like, it's going out into the wilderness. It's going out into the wild unknown. I don't know what to expect, but I'm trying to find not just myself, but also to find God in the process. What LDS does is, when you turn 20 years old, when you graduate from high school, they give you purpose. They give you a chance to reach out to other type of Christians. I wouldn't say prove your faith, but put your faith into action and go to the wild unknown, go to a different city, go to a different country to talk about Jesus Christ. So when you return from that, you have this strong memory, this strong experience that you can use for the rest of your life, that you can bring into your future marriage, that you can bring into your future church, that you can bring into being a parent in the future. I absolutely love that blueprint that Latter-day Saints has. That's going to wrap up week 13. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe if you'd like to stay up to date with, again, this intentional church hopping spiritual experiment. If you'd like to read about the first 52 churches in 52 weeks, check it out on Amazon, ebook, paperback, hardcover, Kindle Unlimited. There's different options if you want to see what happened the first time. So thanks for watching, and hope you have a good one.